This story follows a girl who accidentally gets lost in a forest. She is Hataru Tegawa. Hataru is a joyful little girl who loves adventure. She spends her entire summer holiday in her uncle's hometown every year. There, she would wander and roam around at every place possible. One day, she enters an unfamiliar forest, a forest which was believed to be where the mountain gods and spirits reside. As she walked around quietly, she realized could not find a way to exit the forest. In fear and loneliness, she starts to cry out loud. A mountain spirit hears this and appears a few distance from her, hiding behind a tree. The mountain spirit was wearing a white mask. He was a mysterious boy named Jin. After seeing him, Hataru immediately ran towards him in the hope of him saving her. But Jin then tells her that he cannot be touched by any human being or he will disappear. The mountain spirit helped Hataru return home with a stick between their hands to avoid touching each other's skin. He walks her just until near the entrance of the forest marked by a temple arc, and they bid each other farewell. After a while, Hataru's father finds her and scolds her. He reminds her of the possible dangers that await her, especially when they are not familiar with the forest. Her father walked her home and then told stories about the spirits that live in the forest, not knowing Hataru had already encountered one. Her father told her that he really wanted to see the spirits in the mountains, but never really got the chance to, although he believes he'll stumble unto them or catch them at the corner of his eyes. Her father also told her stories that the forest is home to a festival hosted by the spirits, as one time his mother came home saying they came from a festival inside the mountains, with the sound of the rivers every summer night. But he argues the impossibility of a festival inside the forest, since no villagers would come to celebrate in the middle of nowhere. A day after their encounter, Hataru went back to the forest to meet Jin. They walk around the forest and Hataru meets one of the spirits that belonged to the mountains. The spirit was a floating black smoke. He recognized Hataru as a human child and desired to eat her. But Jin says she is a friend and that he is alright, that Hataru knows she should not touch Jin. They also meet another spirit who warns Jin of the risk he carries just because of a little girl, but Jin still says he will be safe and fine. In that mysterious forest, Hataru and Jin formed a bond despite the hindrance to touch and be close with each other. They went into the fields, the pond, and every place possible inside the forest every time Hataru visits. Hataru promised Jin, the mountain spirit, that she would return to the forest every summer holiday, as it is the only time she gets to be in her uncle's hometown. Ever since their encounter, Hataru spends her time in her uncle's house and the two of them still hang out at the same place where they first met. She patiently and hopefully waits every summer, just to go home and see Jin with the progressing bond and connection. They do the similar things they used to do when they hang out with each other, fly kites and wander around the forest. And after that, they bid their farewell again and waited for another year to see each other. Years went by. Hataru finally entered high school. Hataru showed off her uniform to Jin, and he witnessed her grow and undergo maturity, while he hardly ever ages. Hataru started to feel tension against Jin as adolescence influenced her romantic awakening. They both struggle with their budding romance as they both realize they belong to different worlds. The two both wish they could touch each other and feel each other's embrace. Hataru dreamt of graduating and getting a job in her uncle's hometown after 3 years, just so he could spend more days with Jin. She wished to spend her spring, her summer, her autumn, and her winter with Jin. After a very long time of pondering, Jin finally decides to introduce his story to Hataru on how he ended up in the forest. Jin admitted that he is not actually a spirit, but he is also no longer human. He was abandoned in the middle of the forest by his parents and cried so loud that he did not stop. Only the mountain gods were there. In pity, the mountain gods granted and casted a spell on him so that he could still live. But a body maintained by magic is so weak that if it comes in contact with a human body, it breaks. It's fragile, and he vanishes. One night, Jin takes Hataru to a festival hosted by spirits. He ties a knot on both of their wrists that connect to each other so that they may not get lost in the crowd. The two romantically walk the forest full of spirits that celebrate in happiness as the fireworks start to colorfully explode in the sky. There was a lot to see in the festival. The moon, fishes, kids running around with their laughs and lanterns. As they continued to walk the night, Jin slowly stopped to take off his mask and put it on Hataru. But the night ended in tragedy as two kids started running in Jin and Hataru's way. Jin accidentally holds the hand of a kid who almost stumbled, and he started to vanish into thin air. As he noticed he started to disappear already, he called Hataru as she could touch him already. Hataru quickly removed the mask and ran towards Jin. She embraces him and cries, and Jin confesses his love to Hataru until all there is left to hold is the clothes he wore in the festival. Jin's guardians, the mountain gods, thanked Hataru for granting Jin's wish to touch a human being. Hataru brought Jin's mask and clothes as a reminder and a memoir of his existence. Hataru thinks about the summers that she will spend alone without Jin, but she accepts the pain and is willing to carry on, while remembering and keeping to her heart that Jin was a wonderful childhood memory. The end. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe for more videos. Drop a comment on what story you would like to see next.